Hey, it's Jeremy from Latin SEO. In this video, I'm walking through step by step how you can build a full content plan to rank your B2B website for more keywords and phrases that drive high value leads for you. And the first thing I like to do is just general research and understanding the market itself. Now, if it's your company, you would understand this pretty well. So in this case, I'm going to do an example of industrial coatings. So give me a list of general, broad keywords, phrases related to industrial coating. So then we'll get a list here of information that we could potentially work to rank for. Now, you know your company better. So what you would do in this case is look and see, do you offer anything in the paint segment? Do you offer anything in heavy duty coatings or metal or whatever? If you don't, then don't include them. If you do, then absolutely include them. And the other thing to look at then here is figuring out which of these would make sense to build content for related to applications and industry specific how you work in a different industry. So the other opportunity here then that I would do is give me a list of industries these coatings work well in. Give me a list of applications these coatings work well for. Then we'll have a list of potential keywords or phrases to use, industries they work in, and applications they can work in as well. And then we can start to build the content plan. And following the content plan, then I'll show you exactly how you can work to optimize this content, create it and optimize it. And this is exactly what I want. Thanks, ChatGPT. Yes, we want to merge these keywords into topics that we could build content for. And I've said before in other videos, looking at purely search volume for these key phrases is going to be a big mistake for you, because it's very likely that some of these keywords or phrases, many of them actually, will probably show very little or no search volume. But like I said before, I've seen cases where a keyword or phrase that showed 0 searches per month in a keyword tool actually provided or delivered hundreds of visitors to that website every single month. So if it makes sense from a business perspective to have that content on your website, then you should absolutely create that content, optimize it, and set it up so that a potential customer of yours can see this content, read it, and understand that you know what you're talking about and that you can help them with their needs, whether it be with their specific industry, application, or topic. So yes, we want to, build a merged list that I can use to generate content topics from. And this then gives you a list of topics you can work to build content for. And if we just go into here and start building this, of course, it's going to space them all, where I'll have to clean it all up. And then corrosion resistant, all of these. All right, zoom this in so you can see a little better. Now, this gives us, again, a huge list. And just as an example here, I wanted to show you, doing some research here before. If we look at just these 3, oil and gas, pipelines, and refineries. So industrial coatings for oil and gas actually shows a little bit of search volume potential. And this then gives us, that's a good sign that there is some potential here for this key phrase. Now, the other thing to think about is as you're thinking or working through this content process, would it make sense to have a separate keyword or separate page for oil and gas and pipelines or refineries? If there is not a big difference between how you would serve a client in refineries and oil and gas, then you can very likely optimize your oil and gas page for this same keyword. So what you would do basically is optimize the title would be something like this. Title would be industrial coatings for oil and gas, and then your company name, XYZ coatings, whatever it is. And then the description, same thing, would be optimized probably for oil and gas, but you could also put in here refineries and or pipelines. Again, if this one matches also. So let's just pretend that you want to optimize for all of these. Learn about how XYZ coatings provides excellent coverage for your oil, gas, or if the pipeline or refinery, something like that. And obviously I would spend a little bit more time looking at this, but this probably doesn't make perfect sense. The point is to get as much of the optimization of these keywords into the title or description as possible. But that's only one spot. The description isn't even critical to have it in there. If it didn't make sense to add all this in there, then what you would do is on the page itself, you would optimize H1, which is the title of the page, which would be industrial coatings and gas, or something similar to that. And then within your H2 or H3s, then you can have how we help, how our coatings work for pipelines, something like this. And then you talk a few sentences, a paragraph or two about how those work for pipelines. And then same thing here, H2, H3, how refineries use our coatings. And again, content in this case. Now what this does then, you don't necessarily need to have this exact key phrase in the content if it is something as specific as this. If it's a more broad key phrase, like if you're working to rank for industrial coatings and you never have that term on your page, it's likely going to be more difficult for you to rank. But for something as specific as industrial coatings for pipelines or for refineries, having it in here as a partial match is oftentimes going to be enough to get you to rank if the page itself has some value and if your domain has some authority or strength. So doing this, building this structure from a content perspective can help you not only rank for the primary keyword you want to rank for, but ranking for other related keywords and phrases on the same page. Because at times it would not make sense to have multiple pages on your site that are optimized for very closely related terms. What that would do in many cases is what's called keyword cannibalization. And that is essentially where a keyword or phrase on your site is used on multiple pages or optimized specifically on multiple pages, which causes issues and makes it more difficult for you to rank. So what you want to do in that case is what I'm showing here is build sections on your site with additional content so that you can work to rank for all of these additional keywords and phrases without having pages that are basically the exact same thing. And in many cases, if you have the same industrial coating that works for oil and gas and works for pipelines and works for all these other applications or industries, you have to be a little bit creative with how you're going to build this content, because the coating itself is, if nothing changes with your product, then you have to talk a little bit more about how it works for this specific application. Hopefully that makes sense. But the key is not to just have the exact same content on every single page with just a keyword or phrase change. That's going to make it much less likely that you would rank where you wanted to rank. Now, after you get this list here of topics that you want to build for your site to work to rank for, there are a number of different things you need to do to optimize this content correctly. And if you go to my channel and you look at this video I just posted the other day, actually yesterday, this is how I optimize B2B content for SEO and AI. Watch this video, and what I talk about in here is the exact steps you need to do to take that content, if you have existing content, how to better optimize it. And if you don't, how to build an outline so that you can work to optimize this content correctly so you have the best chance of ranking based on the sites currently ranking for this content. So this is the exact steps I would take to work to build a keyword list for an industry I know nothing about, basically, and then working to build optimized content so that you have the best chance to rank and target clients or customers that have and would very likely be highly valuable customers for you, because you want to rank for keywords or phrases where you're going to get bulk or larger orders And for many of these, they will be a larger order for you. So the value of doing this and setting this up the right way is getting those types of leads. And again, in my other video here, how I talk about one of my B2B clients landed a lead from NASA, SpaceX, Fortune 500. This is the process we're working through, is building content that actually makes sense to, or that would help their prospective customers so that they can understand and believe and trust that the company can help them with their needs. So hopefully you got some value from this video. If you did, subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. And I plan to continue posting more videos like this, talking about how I help B2B companies optimize their sites better for SEO and AI rankings to drive real value and real revenue from your results. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one.